as you know, I've been talking about it for the last few weeks, and there is a campaign that has been running for about a month now, and it reveals about how the institution manages a crisis that it cannot control. What do I mean? So the Daily Mail, as usual, have published multiple stories in the past week about Princess Beatrice and Edo. And they've spoken about the marriage. They've said that Edo is sick of the drama, that Beatrice is bursting into tears, that Edo is considering moving to America, that Beatrice is a daddy's girl who cannot cut the cord, and Edo is working hard behind the scenes to distance his wife from her shamed parents. Yes, and the source for all this is a royal source, unnamed, unverified. We don't even know if any of those conversations took place. So this is the same publication that spent years refusing to investigate the Prince Andrew Virginia Giuffre story, right? This is despite the fact that Vanity Fair, and I found the article from 2013, I believe, that Vanity Fair fact-checked an email that has been in the archive since 2011, despite the Virginia Roberts photograph and despite the FBI court application naming an individual matching Andrew's description in connection with ex-trafficking during a 2002 taxpayer-funded tour of Peru. Yes. This same newspaper that refused to investigate Andrew are now shining the spotlight on his daughter. I think this is a scapegoating operation in full view. We know they do it to Harry and Meghan constantly, but now maybe people can see that with the constant Beatrice bashing, maybe there is a point to what Harry and Meghan have been saying about the UK press. So we know that Prince Andrew is under active criminal investigation, and that investigation is widening. And the Met Commissioner, he made a show of flying all the way to Washington, D.C. to get more files. And we know that Lisa Phillips told the BBC Newsnight that the British police have never contacted her about what her friend alleged that Prince Andrew did to her. And new FBI documents show that agents were actually investigating Andrew's alleged conduct during an official royal tour in Peru. And the Epstein files keep releasing. The questions keep getting more specific and more serious. And yet, the Daily Mail has decided that running Edo and Beatrice's marriage troubles is where their focus should be. This is the same pattern, I dare say, that produced and is still producing years and years and years of Meghan coverage to distract from Andrew. When the institution needs attention directed away from something very grave and very serious, what do? It points to something adjacent and something sacrificable. Yes, Meghan was the primary target for years. Now that Meghan and Harry are now in Montecito in California with their children, and their documentary has been awarded. Their documentary Cookie Queens has won an award. They are doing really well. The spotlight has now shifted, and the target are now the daughters of Andrew and Fergie. However, I believe that Beatrice will get the bulk of the negativity and the scapegoating. Now, Beatrice and Eugenie are being processed in the same machinery that processed Meghan. And the Daily Mail is publishing royal source briefings about their private lives, about their marriages, their emotional states, their tears, and their plans. The sources are still unnamed. The claims are unverifiable, and the function is identical to the function that the Sussex coverage serves, right? So we know that whenever there's a negativity about Harry and Meghan, it's because they are covering up something huge. And a lot of the time, what they're covering up, we're not even aware. But it's a preemptive coverage, So when it comes out later, at least they've served up a distraction to the public. So as far as I'm concerned, the audience, right, they want to keep us, the audience, looking the other way while whatever mess is happening is happening. And I think that the difference here between what they're doing to Beatrice and Eugenie and what Harry and Meghan went through, I believe the difference is instructive, because Meghan was targeted because she and Harry were a threat to institutional hierarchy. Beatrice and Eugenie are targeted because they are connected to a man at the center of some of the worst crises that has befallen the royal family in modern times. So what they're doing now is that the royal family institution, whatever, they are performing a surgical operation on their own body. So what they're trying to do is remove the infected tissue. Sorry, I used to be a microbiologist. They're trying to remove whatever it is they're trying to remove and preserve the hierarchy. And they're trying to protect the king and his heir from any contamination. So that's what they're trying to do. So the suggestion that Beatrice and Eugenie should move to America, right? And this is the point I was trying to get at. So they, suggesting that they should move to America, just follow in Harry and Meghan's footsteps, right? Is the most revealing detail in that coverage, because the institution spent years describing Harry and Meghan's move to California as a betrayal. Meghan, they don't mind losing, to be honest with you. They knew she was always going to leave because of the way they were abusing her. That's what Harry told us in his book, Spare. However, the fact that Harry left, that was framed as betrayal, and many people still see it as betrayal. Come back, do your duty. What duty? Those people barely do any work. However, now they're trying to frame Beatrice and Eugenie leaving, right? It's no longer a dereliction of duty, right? Now, it's them leaving for their safety, or them leaving to take focus away from what's really happening. So that's okay in the eyes of the press. So yeah, Harry was right, because getting out is the correct and was the correct decision. The institution know it, the press knows it, and now they are recommending the same exit to the same people that they are feeding into the machine. Please make it make sense. This is where that mental gymnastics is where a lot of people kind of like give up when it comes to the press and that institution. And I believe that Harry may have warned Beatrice and Eugenie years ago that, by the way, there's no loyalty in the press or in that family, right? And that catching the tiger by the tail ends in ruin. And that the same media figures, right, that you were hugging, that was taking you to lunch, that flew on private jets with you, are the same media figures that make it their mission to destroy you. So yes, let me know what you think, please. My name's Elizabeth. I'm the author of The Luxpreneur. And for more insights like these, please like, share, comment, and follow me. And you can get me, you can support my work. You can support my work by buying me a cup of coffee, or get me a coffee, please, at buymeacoffee.com/Elizabeth Solaru, or you can get a copy of my book, Reaching the Luxpreneur, from Amazon, Waterstones, or Barnes & Noble.
The Daily Mail has published multiple stories in the past week alone about Beatrice and Edo's marriage. Edo is sick of the York drama. Beatrice is bursting into tears. Edo is considering moving to America. Beatrice is a daddy's girl who cannot cut the cord. Edo is working hard behind the scenes to distance his wife from her shamed parents. The source for all of this is a royal source. The same publication that has spent years refusing to investigate Andrew Mountbatten Windsor despite the Vanity Fair fact-check email sitting in the archive since 2011. Despite the Virginia Roberts photograph, despite the FBI court application naming an individual matching Andrew's description in connection with sex trafficking during a 2002 taxpayer-funded royal tour to Peru, is now publishing daily stories about his daughter's marriage. This is the scapegoating operation, and it has a specific function. Andrew is under active criminal investigation. The investigation is widening. The Met Commissioner flew to Washington for more files. Lisa Phillips told BBC Newsnight that British police have never contacted her about what her friend alleged Andrew did. New FBI documents show agents were investigating Andrew's alleged conduct during an official royal tour. The Epstein files keep releasing, the questions keep getting more specific and more serious, and the Daily Mail is running Edo and Beatrice marriage trouble stories. The pattern is the same one that produced years of Meghan coverage to distract from Andrew. When the institution needs attention directed away from something it cannot answer, it points the press at something adjacent and sacrificable. Meghan was the primary target for years. Now that Meghan and Harry are in California with their children and their documentary award and their Netflix slate, the target has shifted to the daughters of the man at the centre of the investigation. Beatrice and Eugenie are being processed by the same machinery that processed Meghan. The Daily Mail is publishing royal source briefings about their private lives, their marriages, their emotional states, their tears and their plans. The sources are unnamed. The claims are unverifiable. The function is identical to the function the Sussex coverage served. Keep the audience looking at a peripheral personal story rather than at the central institutional crisis. The difference is instructive. Meghan was targeted because she and Harry were a threat to the institutional hierarchy. Beatrice and Eugenie are being targeted because they are connected to the man at the centre of the crisis, and their proximity is now a liability rather than an asset. The institution is performing a surgical operation on its own body. Remove the infected tissue. Preserve the hierarchy. Protect Charles and William from the contamination. The suggestion that Beatrice and Eugenie should move to America, following in Harry's footsteps, is the most revealing detail in all of this coverage. The institution that spent years describing Harry's move to California as a betrayal, a dereliction of duty, a Meghan-controlled abandonment of everything the royal family represents, is now, via the same press outlets, suggesting that the York sisters should do exactly what Harry did. Because Harry was right. Getting out was the correct decision. The institution knows it, the press knows it, and now they are recommending the same exit to the next people being fed to the machinery. Harry warned Eugenie and Beatrice years ago that there is no loyalty with the press or the family, that catching the tiger by the tail ends in ruin, that the same media figures who took them to lunch and flew on private jets with them would eventually use everything they knew when the calculation changed. The calculation has changed. Beatrice is bursting into tears in the Daily Mail. Harry is keynoting the world's largest privacy summit. The tiger has turned. And Eugenie, who maintained her relationship with Harry throughout, who visited them in California, who understood what Harry was warning about, has already established her life in Portugal. The ones who stayed are the ones now in the Daily Mail. The ones who left are the ones living their lives. The pattern is not complicated, it is just very expensive to learn.